Welcome to my nightmare.
What's up, everyone? It's the fabulous one,新林無家with another video, and this time I want to talk about the movie entitled The Substance. Yeah, I know I'm late. I've been holding off on watching it, but I finally got around to actually watching it. So I'm going to break this video down in two parts. One, I'm going to talk about the film, give my review. So if you haven't seen it, it's going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it and come back. And then the second part of the video, I will talk about my own experience with ageism as I turned 40 this year. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. So yeah, I watched The Substance last week, and I have to say it's one of the most disgusting movies I've seen in a long time. And to be honest with you, when it comes to horror, sometimes I have my limits, and body horror is one of them, because I used to watch a few of them when I was much younger. There was a movie entitled Dead Alive. I think that's what it's entitled. I think it came out in 1991, I could say, maybe 94. It's one of those years, and it's like one of the most disgusting horror movies I ever watched. And to this day, I have not watched that movie again since then. It was really, really disgusting. It's like one of the first body horror movies I've ever watched as a child. And I had no business watching that either, but the type of parents I had, yeah. Which is strange because they were like strict on me, and I ended up watching all these crazy ass horror movies. But yeah, body horror is my limit when it comes to horror movies. But I did like the message overall of the movie. So it was about a lady named Elizabeth Sparkles, played by the ever gorgeous Demi Moore, who is 62 and looks absolutely fabulous. And she's doing like aerobics and fitness, and then she decides that she wants to, after being praised by everybody, she decides she wants to go to the bathroom. But she noticed that the ladies' bathroom was closed, I guess, for maintenance and stuff like that. So she goes to the men's bathroom, and she goes in there to pee. And that's when the executive comes in. He talks about, oh, we got to get this old bitch out of here. We got to get a new, fresh, younger face. I mean, he went in on her while he was taking a piss. And I noticed that he didn't even wash his fucking hands. I mean, it's a white dude anyway. we know how that is, especially if you live down south. I heard it's everywhere with them. So anyway, she comes out of the bathroom after hearing all that. And of course, she's hurt. She's heartbroken to hear that. And so one time she runs into like this guy who was a classmate of hers, and he said that he recognized her. He said she was the most beautiful woman in the world. And of course she doesn't feel that way, because sometimes it only takes that one person to remind you that you're older and you're old and all that shit, and making you feel worthless. Is like whenever somebody else tells you that you're beautiful, it means nothing to you. It's like when people call you ugly. If you've been called ugly so many times, of course when somebody tell you you're beautiful, you more likely are not going to believe them. That was the case for me as well about my appearance and stuff, but I don't get called ugly anymore. So there's that. So yeah, so she runs into this guy. He gives her his phone number. She drops it in like a dirty puddle of water, and she takes it anyway. But she doesn't really call him till like later on in the film, which catches him on by surprise, because he's like, I'm shocked that you even called me. Because even though she thinks he's beneath her, he thinks she's out of his league, and that's why he was in total shock when she actually calls him. So I'm going way into the film, and like she comes across, like, she was in the car, she has a car accident, she ends up in the hospital, and they start pinching her spinal cord and stuff. And then he was like, you good to go? And she just breaks down crying. And that's when this good looking young male nurse tells her that she's gonna be okay and stuff like that. And then as she was leaving and stuff, she had picked in her coat pocket, and she noticed that there was like a flash drive, and then somebody said it changed his life, so she can assume it came from that young nurse with that blemish on his arm, like a big old birthmark or something like that. I forgot what it was called, but you guys could probably look it up for yourselves. So she finally finds out what the flash drive is. I think the one of the most confusing thing about this movie is the setting. You couldn't really tell if it was today's setting or the 80s, because it was like a mixture of both. It kind of reminds me of that horror film entitled It Follows, where it showed scenes and elements that it could have been the 80s, but then they showed a girl with look like a device that looks like an iPhone or something like that, like she could be talking on it and she's typing and reading on it. You know, something that wasn't available back then that's available now, that came out like a few years ago. That's what this film reminds me of. So yeah, she gets curious about it, then she throws the flash drive into the trash can, until like one time she finally decided to get it out the trash can, and she was told, she called the number, and it was a vague talking man on it, who I wish we could have found out who he was. That was the one big plot hole in the movie. It's like, who was this guy? All they showed in the video was like a demonstration with eggs and a putty, and showing that you can get your youth back and you can become the new you and all that. Basically not really giving no, demonstration of how she could be a new person. You just had to take his word for it. So she had to go to like this abandoned building and crawl through, and they had like these lockers like they had like at the post office. So she had the number, because she had to use a card that had a number on it, and she had to scan that to get access to the warehouse or whatever this place was. And she had to open the locker with the numbers on, the 3 numbers on it, and then from what I can remember it was 503. And so she had to take this box out of there, and she goes home, and it's like a whole kit where they have like the needle injections, the serum, and they had like the food substance in like a bag, so, like a feeding tube. And of course she's not aware of what's gonna happen, so she starts injecting herself with this stuff. And might I say, she looks great nude too. Her body looks nice, her breasts looks, could put any of these young girls to shame. I'm like, she looks really amazing for a 62-year-old woman, I have to say that. I was surprised she got nude, really. But yeah, so she takes it and she starts convulsing, and next thing you know, her back splits open, and like a body comes out, and her former self is like lying lifeless on the floor and in the bathroom, and this younger version of her comes out, and she's admiring herself in the mirror. She's nude as well, but I heard that her breasts are like prosthetics. I guess if she don't want to show her breasts. I think she's been nude before. I'm not too familiar with her, but I've seen her before in that movie entitled Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But she has like small breasts, but in here she got like big perky breasts, like Demi Moore did and does. I said diz. What a word. So yeah, she starts admiring herself, and then she looks at herself, her former self, on the ground that's like lifeless, starts injecting the food source into her, and she has to use like another, like once a day. It only lasts for like a week. She has to inject her former self with another serum to keep her going or whatever. And then she starts to go to where this the studio was, and she auditioned, because when the producers, the scouts, they were doing their auditioning for the new person to be the replacement, they made fun of the girl talking about if she had boobs in place of her nose, she looked more attractive, which is something I had really hate, because I had an experience where me and my niece went to like this modeling thing, and the white woman was rude right off the bat towards me in front of all those people. It's one thing, if I got something wrong, you don't embarrass me in front of people. That's one of the reasons why I'm glad I don't want to model and all that other crap, and I just do my own modeling and do my own photography and things like that. I ain't got to worry about somebody thinking I'm not good enough for this. But the thing about it is, when they chose her to do the modeling, she didn't even go through with it, and that's their ass. I'm like, I really wanted it, but it was a way to talk to me and not be nasty toward me. But then again, when it comes to dealing with certain types of women, that's expected, especially when you're old like that. I don't mean to go there, but old, ugly, and white. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in. So she comes in and she wins the audition off the bat, and they had her doing like the program where she's like doing aerobics like what Elizabeth was doing. Oh yeah, her character's name is Sue. And so she's doing all the aerobics and things like that. And like when the 7 days was up, she had to transfer herself, or at least revive the older body back. And that's when Elizabeth started getting jealous of the fame that Sue was getting from everybody that she used to have when she was younger. Because at one point, Elizabeth took like a snow globe and threw it at her old picture that she had on the wall, because she hated to be reminded of the person she thought that everybody liked at one point. And like, this movie was like really insane. It's like, after a while, Elizabeth, she started to feel herself, and she wanted to live longer than the 7 days. And once Elizabeth talked to the guy on the phone, he said, you have to respect the balance. Because at one point, Elizabeth, while she was out, Sue would take the serum and the little bottles that they have, the empty ones, and she would take fluid out of the spinal cord of Elizabeth and inject it into herself to live longer. And throughout the process of her doing that, it was causing Elizabeth to age more, because her finger got like it got more grotesque, and it became like decrepit, like. And as she kept doing that, Elizabeth's body still kept like decaying and getting older. She couldn't even really stand up. When she was sitting in the chair, her hair was like completely gray, and she had like black streaks in it, and she like really aged throughout her injecting herself with the spinal fluid from Elizabeth's body. And so one day, Elizabeth, she like goes into like a diner to eat, and then this guy starts talking to her, and he was saying that he was basically telling her it gets harder each time to remember that you still deserve to exist, that this part of yourself is still worth something, that you still matter. I thought that was a really good quote. I even posted it to my blog that I'm going to publish next month. I thought this was really good, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, as you get older, people make you feel worthless and things like that, but you got to understand you still matter. That's why I'm going to get into that once I'm done with this review. So she noticed the huge red birthmark on his arm, and she figured that he was the young nurse who was tending to her while she was at the hospital, and she got scared and ran off. So she said that at one point she wanted to reverse it. He said, and the guy with the phone was like, you can't reverse this. This person is a part of you, basically. So when she said that she wanted to quit, and he was like, we'll send you your kit in the next few days, because Sue still wants to exist, obviously, and she knows that both of them can't exist, at least not for long, because the more she exists, the more she's gonna want the serum out of her back into hers, so she can live longer, and that's gonna eventually unalive Elizabeth. So Elizabeth finally gets the kit, and while Sue was unconscious or whatever, she injects it into her chest, but she didn't press all the serum through. So she looks up at the sign and she's like, she got a big day because Sue has a New Year's program that she has to do. So she decides to put the feeding tube into herself, and then through her, and the blood was transfusing themselves, and that's when Sue wakes up, and then she starts acting like a crazy ass zombie from from Pet Sematary or some shit like that, and she starts attacking Elizabeth, and Elizabeth looks absolutely horrible. I mean, she really got older. I mean, she like a crone, like she's like really, really old. Her breast was sagging, skin was sagging, her face looked like melted lava. Like she looked like that, like she was literally sucking the life out of her. And so they get into a big fight, which ultimately like unalives Elizabeth's character. And I remember some people saying that they were disturbed by the fact that Sue was smashing her face against the mirror, and because seeing an old woman being treated like that. I was like, I can tell some of y'all not true crime folks, or y'all not really into horror to see. Hell, even some these other genres of movies, they'll have like an elder person being abused and unalived in the most gruesome manner. I forgot what that horror movie that was when the guy had a hammer and he was doing something to the elderly woman then. And I ain't seen that movie in like a decade or so when they had those free movies online. It was like a stream of like horror movies a long time ago. They got rid of that website. But yeah, you might not want to see a scene like that because that scene was worse than this. So Elizabeth said that she's gonna get ready for her big day and all that. And so as she was going to the studio, she starts noticing that her teeth were falling out, a piece of her ear fell off, and so she decided to run back to the suite Elizabeth lived at, and she decided to look for the serum, the activation serum that Elizabeth had to use to make herself another person. And she injected herself with this, but she collapsed to the floor, and something 10 times worse came out. She became like a big abomination of herself and Elizabeth, because Elizabeth's face was implanted in her back, and she looked at like this big grotesque creature. Her face almost reminded me of John Merrick. If you don't know who John Merrick, he was the Elephant Man. He had some kind of deformity with his skull that had it really, really huge. And like she looked, wow, like I ain't seen nothing that looked like that in a long time. Like you don't see anything like that. It's usually be computer animated and shit. Oh no, they actually used what materials they had, and they created this creature, and she was like dragging something behind her, and that scene was absolutely disgusting. And she finally makes it she took like a picture of Elizabeth's face, and she taped it to her face to hide who she was. And then when she finally arrived, I'm still trying to understand how the hell she was able to get past security and all those people looking like that without freaking anybody out. But then again, another unrealistic part about the movie is the fact that they had showgirls there with their tits out and thongs, and there were children in the audience in attendance. Like, what the hell is this shit? Like I said, I'm like, what kind of time is this? It was weird. But yeah, she makes it to the stage, and then she's like she couldn't really talk, like, cause she's fucked up. And then the thing fall down. They was like, it took them a minute to realize what was going on. They was like, monster, and it like gives you like a flashback to those movies that came out back in the 50s, the 60s. Monster, ah! They just started freaking out all at once. I'm like, hello? Why did it take you damn near 5 minutes to realize what was going on here? And she was like, no, it's me. It's Elizabeth. She couldn't even talk. They was just freaking out, and like a boob like fell out of her freaking head. Like, what the frick, man? That part made me really, really sick. And then next thing you know, blood starts spewing everywhere. Somebody smashed her skull in. It was like, ew, it was like a whole big bloodbath. Kind of remind you of a bit of like Nightmare on Elm Street or Carrie. It was like, it was disgusting. Even the dress she wore, I think that was a nod to Carrie. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was like, that is crazy, because it reminded me, they're all gonna laugh at you. That's crazy. And then there were scenes in the movie where the hallway kind of reminds you of the Shining. And the part where Sue was breaking through the wall, she's looking through, kind of remind you of Jack Nicholson when he was in The Shining. And yeah, it was a lot of nods to a lot of older movies, references in this movie. And I thought that was a good job, but goddamn, that last scene was, ooh, Lord. And then when she finally makes it out of the studio, she sees her star, and she just, Elizabeth's head like burst off, she disintegrated or something, and she slides onto her star, and she smiles, and there's like sparkles falling down on her, and then next thing you know, she just dissolved like just a puddle of blood on her star. I was like, wow. It's like, damn, did you get what you wanted? But yeah, I like the message in this movie. Just love yourself, man. Stop worrying about what people think. And yeah, it's like, but that movie was really, really gross. Check it out if you want to. And I guess in this section I'm going to talk about ageism involving me. I have to say, ageism probably started with me when I was working at my second job at McDonald's. If you remember, if you're familiar with my platform, I've talked about my experience working at McDonald's. If not, I might publish it on my Patreon, because it was a very, very emotional video for me, because they really gave me a hard time at that job. I'm one of the people who just better off just working by themselves, because I really, really don't like people as it is. So when I was talking to the white guy that was a manager, he acted like he freaking hated my guts. So ever since I freaking got to the damn job, and I mentioned something about, is it okay if my mom talked to you about something? He's like, yeah, I don't mind talking to your mom, but you got to remember that you are an adult and all. I was like, that's rich coming for y'all, because you's the same motherfuckers would call a 40-year-old man a child. That's rich. So anyway, yeah, fuck that guy. He looked like he was one of those children that was in those trailers. If you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, you'll know what I mean by the trailer kids. So anyway, and I was working around a lot of teenagers at that job, and they had a problem with me because of the fact, just like I had to deal with today, these women and young girls, I'm going to say young girls, these teenagers, these young girls, they have a problem with me being older but looking good for my age, not necessarily looking young, because they thought I was much younger than I said I was, because I was like, what, 27? I'm like, no, I'm 27 years old. They thought I was much younger than that. And just like with one of my last videos where I talked about that old crazy ass psych ward white dude I was working with, because they were giving me so-called praise on my appearance, and he was like, I don't think you that age, no offense. He lucky he ain't say that in my face, because I probably would have decked him in his goddamn throat, because people need to understand that white men are ages as well, and sometimes they are some of the black women's biggest haters too, right along with that white bitch. But I digress. So I've been dealing with ageism since then, and like when I get my ID carded and all that shit, I have to deal with people trying to tell me how I look and all that shit. I'm like, look, please. And then if somebody, again, like when I went to the casino and this black lady said she thought I looked younger to the white lady, she doesn't look that young. But that's a compliment. No, it's not a compliment, bitch. Because you're an old bitch wearing boy shorts. Because don't even let me get started on you old white bitches out here. Y'all think y'all all that, and y'all trying to compete with these young bitches trying to wear the same underwear as them wearing G-strings, and nobody wants to see your ass in that shit. I'm like, That's rich. Like I said, they don't want you to be great and shit. And that's why I don't have no white friends. And I tell my homies, if y'all got white friends, keep them away from me, because I don't feel like punching nobody in their damn mouth. Because if they fuck around and say some passive aggressive shit to me, we're gonna have a damn problem. And I'm not playing. I'm not joking around either. But I digress. Again. But yeah, I had to deal with this shit from them. And then when I was working at my second to last job, where I was working mostly predominantly around black people, one of the worst jobs I ever had besides the second and first job. And my age was always something they brought up, something to, make fun of me about, and making fun of me for not having children. And I'm like, y'all make fun of me for not having children, but y'all give birth to the worst children. Y'all the worst parents on earth. Y'all have the most violent children. Like, why would I be in a rush to have children? I know what y'all want me to do. Y'all want me to ruin my life like you guys have ruined yours. And a lot of y'all just can't, even you sorry ass black men, y'all don't have enough money to take care of your own children, your own family. Got your wives crying to their family members because they can't afford to do a damn thing because you a bum ass nigga. So I don't give a shit about you making fun of me for not having kids, because y'all bad parents. Black women are bad parents. So hey, I'm not gonna breed no children to be cattle stock for your fucked up ass community. That's for damn sure. And I had one black girl, she was like barely out of her teens. She got upset with me and called me old as hell. I was like, you better pray you get this age, because as far as I'm followed a femicide page on Facebook, these dudes are taking y'all up out of here of all ages. So yeah, you better pray you get to be my age. I'm almost 40 and I look great. And like I said, I tell people the reason my main beauty secret is not dealing with men and not having children. That's why I look the way I do right now and how good I look, because y'all can't call me ugly no more. I'm unattractive. I don't care. I don't want you guys to find me attractive. I don't want these trailer trash ass white men to find me attractive either. So who cares? As long as I think I look good and I think I'm fabulous and I know I matter, just like in that quote, I don't give a fuck what y'all think, because y'all the same bitches who can't coexist with other races of women because you think they're being microaggressive towards you. They got a problem with you. And I'm looking at your face like, ma'am, please. Please get the fuck over yourselves. Meanwhile, I actually deal with straight up aggression from these bitches nowadays, to the point where I had to quit my last fucking job. Like, I had enough. I spoke my mind to that person. I was like, I was done, because I don't like white women. So, and because when I tell people I don't like them, I get black women, sometimes dumbass biracial women, thinking they can come up and check me for it. You ain't gonna check me for shit, bitch. Just because you don't deal with fucking racism, ain't no passive aggressive. It's been years since that happened. They just straight up aggressive towards me nowadays. You ain't about to tell me shit. The reason why you light brights and half-breed bitches don't deal with no racism, because they don't fear y'all. When they see a hot, fine-ass, brown-skinned, dark-skinned black woman walking around in shape, smiling, wearing bright colors, they get intimidated by that shit. They ain't intimidated by y'all because they think they white men want us. That's what that's all about. And some of us like, well, we good. We just want to be single, enjoy our life and shit. But that's just me. I'm not speaking for anybody else. But me, I'm good. I don't date trailer park trash. I don't like southern men. I don't like country men, period. But if I live somewhere else, then yeah, maybe you can have a problem with me messing with white men, because I don't like countryness at all. I'm country my damn self. But yeah, they don't really see you light-skinned women as a threat, because y'all barely even date out anyway, because y'all always find the blackest, ugliest nigga to get with. But I have a video coming up real soon going in on y'all asses. If you think you gonna fucking check me for some white bitch, you can hang out with whoever the fuck you want to hang out with. With me, I'm good. I don't hang out with white women, not because I'm jealous or some shit like that. I don't like them and they don't like me. And you know what? The feelings is mutual. It's all good. Just stay up out my face. Do your job. Don't make unnecessary comments about my appearance and my age and all the shit, and we good to go. We don't have to coexist. We just live our separate lives. And like, of course, you know, even though these women be talking crap about, you know, being hostile and nasty towards me, it's mostly black and white women. It ain't Hispanic women. It's not Asian women. It's mostly black and white women who have the biggest issues with me. And the thing about it, they feel some type of way about me, about my age and how I live my life and all that shit. But I still get attention from men. Not that I really give a shit what they think down here, but I still get attention from men. And I think that grinds their gears. You know, I'm wearing all these pretty colors and all that, while they walk around with a big back, no ass, look like men, look like crap, aging horribly, and mad at me because I take damn good care of myself. I used to be super skinny, and they had a problem with me back then when I was skinny, but I guess because I thickened up, now it's more of an issue now because, oh, you don't have a man and all that shit. Yep, and you have a man and he don't love you. He go to people's jobs, especially cashiers. He hits on cashiers. Women who you think are beneath you. That's who he's hitting on, because it used to happen to me when I was working in customer service. And I'm like, nope, I'm flattered, but get your ass about my face. If you making her life a living hell, you're going to make my life even worse. No, thank you. But like I said, the key to looking good is getting rid of all evil in your life, staying away from evil people. I'm not even trying to talk from a religious standpoint, but just staying away from evil people. Balance. Respect the balance by eating healthy and eating other stuff, you know, whenever, but just know when to stop. Don't overeat. Always go to your checkups, you know. Don't wait too late till shit gets bad. Go haywire. Stop listening to other people, especially people like black people and white people who don't mean you no good at all. Always giving you bad advice. Hell, they've been giving me bad advice for a long damn time. That's why I don't listen to them. And they mad about it. Mind your business. Stop getting up in everybody's business. I guess, because the nosiest people are black and white people. And I mentioned that in one of my last videos. Some of the nosiest fucking people, some of the messiest fucking men are white men. Gay and straight. Messy motherfuckers. I can't stand y'all down here. And anywhere else, unfortunately. Because I can't stand that messy cattiness. Y'all want to call everybody gay, but who's gayer than y'all? The fuck? But yeah, learn to love yourself. Please feel free to check out this movie and let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments, and what you think about what I just said. You know, we can all agree to disagree, but that's just how I feel. Like I said, if you could have cut the video off after I did my review, just like I'm gonna say in the description box, because you know, when I go in, because it makes no sense how we base a woman's worth on what men think. Meanwhile, he can discourage your ass anytime, any day. Like, who cares what they think? You know, I've been ignoring men for a while now. They've given me compliments and shit. I just walk off, don't listen, act like I don't hear them. The motherfucker got a tap on the back of my damn chair. I'm like, don't you do that. It's a good way to get your fucking brains bashed in. I'm like, I don't care what you fucking say. I don't care what you think, man. Now, like I said, I'm not about to ruin my life by getting with these old trash ass men. I don't give a fuck what these women think. You ain't got no kids? Oh well, shit. Then I just won't have no kids, motherfucker. Let's see how your kids turn out. Oh, that's right. The older ones who got kids, oh, their kids are fucking fucked up. They're criminals. Their daughters are baby mamas to a bunch of children by different men. I'm like, I don't want your life, man. I know what you're trying to do. You want me to fuck up like you do. Don't listen to these fucking bitter ass bitches, old and young. They all full of shit. And take your compliments and shove it up your fucking ass. I love myself. You're not gonna make me feel any differently, okay? So anyway, I'm gonna conclude this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment below, like, share, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Au revoir.